That's the chief. The chief is over there.
More than one?
There's another chief over there. Everybody, there's chiefs. We got all kinds of chiefs in New Indians. Why can't I say, I can say it, you can.
I can't say that. You can say it.
I'm not gonna.
You're like, you're not gonna.
You need inquiry.
I'll be the chair for both of us.
What do you want me to say?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, before we get started, so we didn't realize that the audio and stuff isn't working, we must have got hit by lightning today, so we'll try and project the best we can with everything, so if you can't hear any one of us, please let us know. Dispatch is out for some parts around as well, so we're working on it, okay? All right, I'd like to call to order committee of the whole for this Tuesday, City of Cudahy, Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 at 6:48, 5050 South Lake Drive, Cudahy, Wisconsin. Prior to this meeting, notice was given to the community, posted in the appropriate places. Notice was also given to the news media that requested it, namely the Washington Journal-Sentinel and mySouthShoreNow.com.
Roll call, Alderperson Levy? Here. Alderperson Phillips?
Here.
Alderperson Haynes?
Here.
Alderperson LaFerski?
Here.
Alderperson Sangre-Valco?
Here.
Also present is City Attorney Larson, City Administrator Larson, Chief Fleur, Chief Andrews, Deputy Clerk Treasurer Venancio Leonard, and Communications Coordinator, Marvell. Alright, public comment, agenda items only. Each speaker will be limited to one 3-minute presentation for each public comment or hearing from Cudahy residents placed on the agenda. Any discourse between the speaker and council, if absolutely necessary, will be minimal as to avoid potential open meetings law violations. No comments will be received at this time for matters that will be or have been the subject of a public hearing, because the proper time for such comments is during the public hearing. A few notes from the City of Cudahy adopted meeting policy. All attendees should honor the need for a respectful and safe environment. Anyone addressing the board, committee, commission, or council should be treated respectfully and not interrupted by participants attending the meeting during presentations. Sidebar conversations among meeting attendees should be avoided, including cheering, booing, clapping, etc. No comments that are a personal or professional attack on an individual will be permitted.
Okay, before we get started, I want to add to that, so council, any questions that are asked of anyone that's here regarding this, if it's appropriate, go ahead and answer that question during our discussion. Okay, if not, if it's something we need to do research on, please, if they're in your district, please make note of it and get back to them in a timely fashion, please. Okay.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Didn't we discuss last year that we would allow, at committee of the whole, we would allow the citizens to jump in at any point in our discussion? Didn't we do that last year? I mean, there's no minutes, but that was my recollection. It was sort of an informal workshop where, and in the case of tonight, I mean, this was just handed out, so I don't know that they would even know what they would be commenting on, other than once we get into it. I don't know, does anyone else remember that? Or is it
Yeah, I'd have to look it up.
Yep.
I remember that. Again, lean on, I guess, the city attorney. I thought, as far as regarding to, committee of the whole, there was, latitude for engagement, not like extreme engagement from the citizens, but a little different than our regular council meetings.
So you are a governmental body. All governmental bodies in Wisconsin can only meet after getting prior notice of the topics that will be discussed. And so that requires identifying topics on your agenda that have to be posted 24 hours in advance. So those are the issues you can consider, the topics that are on your agenda. That's what you can discuss. In the committee of a whole, the concept of a committee of the whole is to allow less formal communications among the council. As you know, Robert's rules require being recognized by the chair. They require speaking only to the chair, not speaking to anyone other than the chair. And at a committee of the whole, the rules are relaxed that way. You can speak less formally to one another.
Okay, so we'll proceed with public comment if you have a question. I know we just gave it to you guys, so.
Please state your name and address for the record and make sure you speak loudly.
I just found out a couple days ago that that's actually illegal for you asking me that question,
Which one?
because I could have retaliation on my house or myself. Number two, Robert's Rules of Orders does not call it. Robert's Rules of Orders says that if you have something on the agenda and it comes up on the agenda, it's open. Doesn't say anything about that. As a dues paying member for 43 years, I know Robert's Rules of Orders. Number two, when you turn around and limit me, the way that this thing was supposed to have been set up was that the chair would read out.
Mr. Schmidt, agenda items only for the public comment, please.
Is this an agenda item?
You haven't mentioned anything on this.
Well, it is gonna be now. It is gonna be now. My name is Tom, by the way. Anyways, where the hell was my train of thought? Thanks a lot. Did a hell of a job. If this comes up in conversation, they got to talk first, and then the chair would open up the floor for discussion and conversation. That's what I was getting at.
Any other comment? Any other comment?
For Robert Goss, 3745 Henrietta.
Can you speak up just a little bit?
No, I can't. My throat's a little parched. So, question, the agenda items, is that the paper that you put here? Is that the agenda that we're talking about?
The agenda for the committee of the whole is on the table over there. What you have before you is the organizational chart, which we will be discussing.
Okay, one moment. Okay, the committee of the whole, with the documents that you presented here, there's two documents here. I'm not sure which one is the current and which one is the new. Can you disseminate the two?
We'll see. It's just for discussion.
What was the plan for the change? Like, what prompted this? Would be a question, okay? Like, I'm assuming who reports to who. And as we have, hired a city administrator, it was always the idea that you were number one in charge of the city. That position is in charge of the finances and everything, and then the clerk treasurer, and then it branches out from there. So I see the library board, committees, common council, fire and police commission with the fire and police chief, with the city administrator. And then this is all broken down. I guess I'm a little lost on this. also what, a finance director? And is there any dollar amounts tied to these, so we know what this is costing us additionally? Could we put that in there? What the current wages are for what we're paying for all these people here? And then what this would be? Thank you.
Any other comment? Any other comment?
Hi, Megan Stankiewicz, 3460 East Van Norman Avenue. My only comment is that, it'd be appreciated if materials were given beforehand. I've been a part of a lot of board meetings and I've never received materials day of. Thank you.
Any other comment, agenda items only? Any other comment? Third and final call, any other comment? Moving on, old business, we have none. New business, item 1, discussion regarding organizational staff structure.
Okay, so ever since I was an alderman, previous mayors have talked about, developing an organizational structure. We had one from a long time ago. I don't remember really seeing it. I know Mayor Podlick had a vision. So right now, we talked about looking at how we're running now and how we think we can improve on that. So what you have before you is how we are now and how we think things should go.
Which is which?
Yeah.
The one,
How we are now has the draft date
that's the
on the
first
right.
one. That's how we're,
This is the current one?
yep, that's the current one. So take a look at it. If you wanna take a few minutes, let it marinate, ask questions if you don't understand how it flows. We'll try and answer the best we can.
But yeah, I have a question. Okay, so,
Yeah, that's it.
this,
There's no other copies.
I guess I'd like to walk us through your vision of where, oh, sorry, I'm still not exactly back to full health on my voice, but I'll use my outside voice. Okay, so here's the deal. We have an org chart. Now, is the concept of you're utilizing the org chart to realign and distribute tasks, then it's probably not the right way to do it. Because your org chart is your org chart, you have so many bodies. And you really, again, I'm going to be very clear about this. Realigning a name of a position, that's an org chart. Because of a certain person, because right now you've assessed maybe tasks, skill sets that they have. And going, oh, so we can now make this position, give it this name, because we found out Susie Smith, even though she's doing receivable entry, she also has a background in HR. You can't make her the HR coordinator. Because that's not what we hired. We have job descriptions, we have positions. Now, if you want to create an environment of shared responsibility and want to redistribute, reallocate tasks of daily responsibilities underneath a certain job position, go for it. That was the concept of the future. So if a citizen would walk up, they wouldn't necessarily have to go to that sign that said, if they went, water department, and that's all the information they could get. It'd be so silent that that person kind of knew a little bit more and could even answer a question, take money for something else within the city structure. Again, if there are tasks within the responsibilities of a role, you redistribute. You do not, we can't just give people a nilly-willy. We can't make an HR coordinator because we don't budget. We didn't budget for an HR coordinator. We can't make a finance director, because we didn't budget for a finance director, and we do not have a job description for a finance director. So unfortunately, Mr. Mayor, I'm a little bit perplexed.
That's
So
what we're-
I
that's what
like
we're
the
here to discuss,
concept.
all the person development, city development,
So we're here to discuss
So in front of you, you have it right here.
changing
It
our
says-
org chart or
it
just
says-
aligning
it
our
says-
jobs?
It says right here, I got one person doing all these jobs, now if you take a second to really
Yeah.
look at it,
Yeah,
please do. You'll see on the next page, you'll see how it's all broken down. So that, we don't have one person doing 5 different jobs.
so that's a different chart.
So
Unfortunately,
it's a proposed chart.
no, an organizational chart is not what what you should be presenting to us. You should be presenting a chart of people and their jobs and what responsibilities they have. And if you needed our assistance as a whole to discuss, like, are you comfortable with now taking those responsibilities underneath, you don't call it an org chart. Unfortunately, it's a flow of doing business, not an org chart. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, you're confusing us people who have worked in corporations that have dealt with
I would
organizational
disagree
charts.
with you, because this is an organizational chart, I've dealt with it in the fire service for the last 32 years, this is
You
how
don't
it's
call it an
structured.
organizational chart.
Yes, we do, don't tell me I don't, because that's what we did.
Then you should you don't give it a title of a name. If you wanna say that this position does finance, payroll, you don't go finance clerk, you don't go payroll clerk, you just say the things they do.
Well, we're here to discuss,
Well, I'm just sharing clarity, and I don't know if anybody else has
so,
questions.
anybody else wanna weigh in? Administrator Larson.
From my perspective, whatever you wanna call this structure here, laid out for you guys tonight, how we currently operate and what's proposed for discussion is the first step. This didn't take a whole lot of effort, this is copying other municipalities, the responsibilities we have, the services we provide, and the best practice to lay out an org chart. I think within the structure that we largely have, the services we currently provide and plan to continue to provide, and taking the individuals out of it. This is, everybody on city staff buys a lotto, we all win, we're all on a bus tomorrow. Mayor Jankowski can take this proposed structure, and these are positions that exist in most municipalities our size with the services we provide. If this general structure is a goal council wants us to work towards, everything you described, all the person, Sandra Dunkel, is exactly the work that will begin. Just didn't want to start all that because it's pretty heavy lift, without some guidance on the overall vision.
Other person Phillips.
I think that starting with this existing org chart, I've asked previous mayors for an org chart and no one produced one. I think it's a good start. I'm on the same page as, Alderperson St. Delco. This org chart needs to match the wage study that was done, because on that wage study, we don't have an inspection clerk, we just have a clerk. So I think that by calling this an organizational chart, it shows us all of our people, but overall, this should match the current wage study that was done. And that way we can show the, citizens exactly how much this person is, what their wage range is. We're not gonna put their actual wage on there, because it could change depending. And then come back to just more of if you want to propose some new breakdowns, then we should do that, but if I recall, the wage study only showed that we have clerk levels. We don't have a water clerk anymore, or maybe we do have a water clerk, but it was, the way the wage study was created is that we just had clerk levels and everybody was familiar with doing other things. I was trying to find the wage study in the email, previously, but I think that it's a good start. And we could match this to the existing wage study. And then we can say that, are we actually adding a position here? Rough guess, I see that we possibly are kind of splitting it out.
Yeah, there's no added positions, this would be with current staff.
So then I wouldn't call it an organizational chart, I would just say that it's management,
It's an operational
agreement or
It's an
something.
operational structure.
Just to match the wage study that is already done and what we base everybody's wages off of. Because if we start going off of this organizational chart, then the wage study doesn't match. So I understand the point, I think it's just terminology, I don't think it's any other big concern, but I like this, personally, because I've asked for it several times in the past and no one ever produced one, so it's actually really good to see, where things are and how things are supposed to flow. But I think that we need to go back and make sure that it matches the wage study that was done.
Are you, just for clarification, are you referencing the wage study from 2020?
The last
for 20
one.
That only included department heads.
But I think clerk is separate on some of those wage increases that we have done.
On the pay ordinances it is.
So as long as those all match and jive, I understand that, San Marie Delco's point is that we can't just recreate some. What this looks like to me, and I believe they're not putting words in your mouth, is we are creating a new position
Right.
and we're not budgeting for it. But technically, that's not what we're actually trying to do here, is my understanding. So it would be called something different, as long as it matches whatever the pay rates and wage study
So
does.
clarification for you guys and for us, you're looking for the titles on the chart to match what's on the pay ordinances.
I think that that's a good
accurate?
start,
Yeah,
and based on feedback from the,
I think, you know,
citizens.
if you do more of a column structure, you know, so again, we want a body count, because that's all we have. So if you're trying to reallocate and maximize productivity and efficiency through what you have available. We have our budget, if we know, or if a position is available, hire, not hire, or whatever. So, to me, in my past, as far as doing something like this, we wanna kind of figure out like, hey, how can we best, utilize, again, our people resources that we have currently? Can we reallocate tasks to somebody else because somebody is off bandwidth, this is like overpouring? Then you want, cause you wanna make sure you understand what their responsibilities are. So you wanna find all your people, I would do it in a spreadsheet with columns, and then you start moving. And, cause this is good, we need to know the connecting of the dots, who reports to what. Then you can revamp it based on which responsibilities, not a naming of a title, but responsibility that would be reallocated to another or shared. And then you maybe have one that goes two ways, that two people, again, could kick in, that they know this too. Or three people know it, because it could be more than one person, sorry. Yeah, for efficiency and productivity, because again, we have a small and hopefully mighty group of people. Got it. And I love it, this has been kind of trashed around before, and again, a lot of our, reason why I think it wasn't moved forward, because of course, infrastructure of the design of our space that our employees work in. Of course, with technology, and with more of the computerization, I think we have a much better handle in being able to access information, not so siloed, like it's only in this computer, or these people only have this software. I think we have a more universal, access to all the softwares that we use in our daily operation in City Hall. So that's my point, and hopefully that makes sense.
Alderperson Hayes.
Well, I'm in agreement with both my colleagues from the second district and fifth district. And it's a good starting point, and it's been requested in the past and wasn't done, and I think we're overdue with a chart like this. And part of our discussion, what's the best course and direction to go, so we can, give direction to our staff to move forward, and come back later and do what needs to be done.
Thank you. Alderperson.
I've heard here tonight that currently we don't have anything, but I was given an employee handbook, and there is an organizational chart in the employee handbook. And I guess, are these just full-time positions on this chart? Okay, are there part-time positions? I know there's one that's missing.
No, it's not on there. You're referring to the part-time inspector, yeah?
Yes,
Yeah, it's not,
Seasonal and part-time report job description.
no part-time. So are there any permanent part-time people? I know we have, summer help for DPW. Are there any other people that work in the building that are part-time?
There are several.
Okay. And those are permanent, they're not temporary. I think they should be on there if they're permanent, part-time.
So the one you're referring to in the handbook, I asked about that, and the one that was in the handbook this year, I asked about that, and that never really happened. It was, that was made by Casey, and he was here, but it never really was instituted, so.
If it's still in the handbook and it wasn't in it, you should be removed.
Yep, yep, the handbook's due for upgrade. Anything else, Coach?
No, not at this time.
You want the permanent part-time added? Is that-
I think it would be good, because, I mean, there are people that are doing something. I don't know how many there are, other than the one part-time, I think he's neighborhood preservation officer is his title.
Yep, no, there's a number of positions that were not included in this, just because the proposed different structure doesn't, basically those folks would still report to the same position they would. This is kind of bare bones, get council feedback before we really start to put the work in. And if we get that direction, yeah, it'd be all inclusion of every budgeted employee. Yearly that's an update.
And I think you can add them because all you're gonna do is change the title.
No, I know, this is just showing the things that are proposed to be a different type of structure. And
The
then-
responsibilities of people are not gonna change, the bodies we have. So again, we're gonna match it to what our current job descriptions are in our HR Rolodex of things and to align with our wage structure. Those are the people we have. Those are the titles that are budgeted for. Okay? Anything that is budgeted for should be represented in your organizational chart. Okay? Then, as far as disbursement of responsibilities and reallocation of responsibilities and tasks, again, that's a whole different chart. So, you can utilize this as your beginning point, as you said, but do the spreadsheet, do the columns, do a flow, like each person has a flow, you know, because this doesn't represent their tasks, and do a true assessment, you know, come up with a quick survey and ensure that you totally know what everybody does on a day-to-day basis. And what they have, and hopefully what their computers have access to. If you're going to do this correctly and 100%.
Well, this is the ground floor, so.
No, again, totally get it, and that's my advice. I'm like, you ask the community of the whole to chime in, and from my experience, that's what I suggest.
All person leave.
I just think it's a little bit confusing, because in some places you have the department and the department heads. But then in some places, it's truly like, for example, with the city administrator, who he's managing, rather than like the department heads and what goes underneath them. To me, it seems like the director of public works and engineering, water utility and operations, and electrical inspector, should be in like one area, and then over. And then the communications and HR, maybe even finance should be in another section, depending, I know they're reporting to different people, but it's just a little disjointed. I think if you stick with department heads, and figure out what that department is for these ones that are outliers, it would help to make a little bit more sense.
So do the chart with more general titles.
Anybody else?
If I'm getting a signal, they
I'm sorry. Okay, did you hear okay?
No.
Our mic works.
Sure, I said it's a little bit confusing, because in some areas, it lists the department, and then the department heads underneath it, and then some areas, it's who's in charge of several different people, rather than departments. So I think it needs to be a little more general. I like the idea of it being department heads, so we know who is under these things and who they belong to, who manages them. Right now, it's just a little disjointed.
Did you get all that? Yeah, good? Okay. Alright, anything else from council?
Yeah, if you wanna use this structure, then take this structure, your little formula here, your graph. If you wanna plug in, you can make, so what happens in a company is normally, of course, we're lived down. So this is a big overarching structure, and then each individual, if they have people underneath them, they would list, and they would have the same thing. And then you could even do it with tasks. You could use the same structure versus just a spreadsheet, if you don't have spreadsheets. And create the various tasks as a sub bullet out. That's how these things work, when you create them in a computer. So it's just a flow. So you gotta create a better flow, so you have a better, again, more comprehensive understanding to help us understand, what the new, and the person, like, in the end, they're gonna wanna know too. So, to get best use of everybody's time and ensure you got everything covered and balanced. And again, don't attach it to a person, please. If that person leaves, then it implodes what you created. So attach it to the concept. Generalized skills, not specific niche skills.
Do we have an HR coordinator? So that's
Not currently.
okay, so is that something that's in the works to be hired? Or is
That
that
is-
part of a job description?
Part of this work, if broadly, this
Then I guess I'm saying that title should be eliminated and absorbed into someone's job description, who's ever doing that. I mean, if we have an HR coordinator, someone doing that.
Part of my thinking anyway would be that we can essentially have, it could be absorbed into other people, but they're not currently doing it because there's a handful of people doing too much. So yes, it is these positions, duty, but, if the general structure is acceptable, then that's the planning work, is the way to do it. Some of that's gonna involve some training of our in-house team and time, and it may well warrant discussions each year at budget if there is a need for something. At this point, this would be working within what we have.
Certainly, if one would find that the percentage of, bandwidth, becomes to be the allocation of all the job tasks, if that one becomes, if HR becomes 80% of one person's job, or over 80%, there could be a need to then have an individual position, right? Of course, then you gotta have money for it. So that's how you start assessing all these things. If you've ever been involved, unfortunately, or fortunately, I have, dealing with HR, like real HR departments, and going through this whole process of figuring out everybody's job, time that they put into certain things. And then we decide, okay, wait, that doesn't make sense, like, you can't do all that one day, but of course, sometimes you have to because you do more with less. So in our case, it is a great opportunity to, definitely, cross-utilize individuals. I'm an advocate of that. I always have been in my work environments. It's very successful. I will serve our people well when I come and have to do things here too.
I have a specific question. The old chart shows inspections manager, and then underneath is electrical inspector and inspection clerk. On this one, there's no manager, and there's just the 3 electrical inspector, building, plumbing inspector, and inspection clerk. It looks like they report to no manager, but also they don't report to any board
They
or.
report to
day-to-day operations type things, no, if it's a planning and zoning type thing or a management level thing, that it's just kind of that can fall into somebody when the director level position was eliminated. Then yeah, I asked them to very shortly after I adopted, because I realized that people were being asked to do more
JJ,
than
hands up louder.
people were being asked to do more than they initially signed up for with their roles. And so, yeah, absolutely, I thought, obviously not their inspection duties, we've got fantastic inspectors for that, working for the management level stuff, we work together, yeah.
So who was managing them?
The last one I could tell, as a city staff, I believe was Community and Economic Development Director, Beardot.
He had a dual, yeah, he was one of those, again, not that I agreed on that, because it's like, how do you get someone that has the same expertise, and he was one of those that had multiple departments underneath him. He had zoning, inspections, and, community development. Just as Mary Jo then had three or four departments underneath her. Because again, unrealistic long-term sustainability, that every time you lose an employee, you're constantly revamping the job description, and now you're gonna have to, you don't have the money, because you're paying one person a really good wage, wait, oh, we can't do it with one, now we're gonna need two, now where do we get the money? So, move with caution. Yeah, that didn't work with Brian. We have a lot of gaps because of that situation. Go to the planning meetings, right?
Chief, do you report to the police and fire commission? For day-to-day?
Day-to-day operations,
I guess I'm looking at police and fire and board of health, I mean, do they really report to those boards or bodies? Because I thought they would both report to the mayor.
Not on day-to-day operations, they don't report to me, like if there's some significant thing that the chief wants, like, hey, we got a problem with the station, or those types of things, he comes to me for that.
If I may, statutorily, police and fire commission have legal obligations, and their obligations control the fire and police department are primarily around hiring, firing, discipline, and then anytime we have any one of those steps. So, we hire an employee and they make their probation, and we approve all of those things. So, that's their wheelhouse statutorily.
As a body?
As a body, yeah. So we have meetings, they're scheduled. I've got a firefighter coming up on his probation, we'll schedule a meeting sometime, and they present the year-long evaluations and let them approve or whatever they choose to do with his probationary status. Day-to-day operations, budgetary issues, functions of the fire department, last minute things. If I would have to report to the fire police commission for that.
I get it.
Yeah, so that's, I report to the city administrator and the mayor on those. But
I don't know who, and then it would be who on that board? I mean, you have to convene the whole board to get direction? I'm thinking it shouldn't be there, that's my point.
Well, our fire police commission statutorily
That's statutory.
that's the state of Wisconsin who dictates that, and it's run often like a council, so they have to have a quorum to meet and to take any type of action, whether it's, again, hiring, firing, promotional, anything to do with employment. Am I correct with that, sir?
Very well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, correct.
Thought I should have probably let you take down as well.
Anything else? Okay. Last chance. Okay, so we discussed that, it was a good discussion, thank you, everybody, take all that into account, and, we'll let you know, we'll go ahead, moving forward, so. Might be brought back a few more times for us to kick around the room and see what we end up with, so, thank you very much. Okay.
Motion to adjourn, anyone?
Motion made by Alderperson Senator Feltus, seconded by Alderperson Phillips, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, we have none, we are adjourned at,
7:26.
does anybody need a bathroom break or anything?
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh, hi, somebody's different. I was talking to incognito. Where's my AK? Plan commission.
Yeah.
Let me stay here. Thank you.
South Lake Drive, Cudahy, Wisconsin. Prior to this meeting, notice was given to the appropriate places. Notice was also given to the news media that requested it and to the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel and MySouthShoreNow.com.
Roll call, Alderperson Levy. Here. Alderperson Phillips.
Here.
Alderperson Haynes.
Here.
Alderperson LaFerski.
Here.
Alderperson St. Rebecca.
Here,
Also present is Chief Floor, Chief Andrews, DPW Director Burkle, City Attorney Larson, City Administrator Larson, Communications Coordinator Marvell, Deputy Clerk Treasurer Venancio Leonard, and myself.
Please join us in pledge of allegiance.
Presentations and public hearings, we have none. Public comment, each speaker will be limited to 1 3-minute presentation for public comment or hearing from Cudahy residents placed on the agenda. Any discourse between the speaker and council, if absolutely necessary, will be minimal as to avoid potential open meetings law violations. No comments will be received at this time for matters that will be or have been the subject of a public hearing, because the proper time for such comments is during the hearing.
Okay, so as what I said in the last meeting, someone asks a question, and it's appropriate, we can answer it during when we have the meeting on that agenda item. If not, please take note of it, and if you're in your district, please get back to us on time and fashion. If you need help with that, please advise us. Yeah, but we can have state your district. Right.
All right, public comment, agenda items only. Public comment, agenda items only.
And
Please
Robert
state your
Ross,
name.
3745 East Henry Avenue. On the agenda, new business number 1, the celebration committee, which is very valuable. It's my understanding that the mayor took this over on his own, I believe with his wife, to do that. I think it's important that the committee be reestablished, if you will, and continue. On number 2, the easement that is on there, was there a traffic study done from what I saw? My understanding is that it's going to cut through in the back and then continue out the front for the exit for the senior high, is that correct? I'm not sure if that's the parcel number. Number 3, the agreement for assessor contract. How many bids were put out for additional contracts for appraisals? And when was the last appraisal done? I think the citizens would be, I think every 10 years an appraisal needs to be done. I think it's been done before, kind of recently. And if you do another one, it's going to reflect the high prices that are currently going for the homes, which will raise everybody's taxes. And I think they've had enough. We've all had enough. It's too much, too high, too many fees. And the last of all, the capital improvement plan is listed as an open house. I believe it was discussed to be a town hall. And the last part was on the consent agenda items. There was something called refunds to an account for $64 and $70. In an account 001 dash 40 and then 117 dashes 000. Does anybody have any idea what that is, what that account is? 001 dash 0000 dash 117 dash 000. Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else, public comment?
Please state your name and address for the record.
Schmidt, 3954 East Birchwood. This, I don't know if I'm under the, claims ending March 31st in the amount of $666,561.67. But under a few accounts from Groff, we got $2,584, we got, $2,140, $1,795. EVA, place of gathering, $15,809. And this is gonna strike some nerves, but I thought this fire truck, this antique fire truck was free. The truck might be free, but why are we okaying $1,620 for repairs? If this is supposed to be all donated money. It'd be nice to get some answers from the gentleman before me and myself, before this meeting ends.
Any other comments? Agenda items only. Any other comments? Third and final call for any other comments, agenda items only. Hearing none, moving on, consent agenda items, item 1, minutes of the claims committee held April 14th, 2026.
Can we pull number 2 out and handle number 1 separately? Well, we don't need a motion for that, but I'll make a motion. But before I make a motion on what's called the claims committee, we don't really have a claims committee. It's called the Board of Claims, and I don't think it would be such a big deal if we called the committee what our code says it is. It's not the claims committee, it's the Board of Claims. I think it's important that we get that right. So, I will make a motion to change Claims Committee to Board of Claims, and I would make a motion to place it on file.
We're placing it on file? I thought we were saying completely.
That is a claims committee.
Okay, there is no second, so motion dies. Okay. So minutes of the claims committee held April 14th, 2026.
Yeah, you're on.
We have one thing on.
Louder.
Sorry. Committee, the claims committee held April 14th, 2026, there was only one item on there, correct? I couldn't tell what that was.
It was a mailbox knocked out with the last snowstorm.
So a motion was to pay that, which was $150, so.
I'll make a motion to approve it. This is just
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Alderperson Levy to approve the claims committee minutes of April 14th, 2026, seconded by Alderperson Haynes. Any discussion?
You're just approving the minutes, correct? There'll be a resolution.
Correct, yes.
I'm sorry, but we
Any
can't
other
hear.
discussion?
Sorry, Tom, we'll try and speak up. Please remind us of,
No, it's not only me.
I know, but you got, people talk sometimes, that stuff happens, so we'll try.
Like we're yelling at each other and we're really not.
Right.
It's hard to do that.
Any further discussion on the item? We have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, Alderperson Levy.
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips.
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes.
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski.
No.
Alderperson Savory Valco.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1. Items removed from consent agenda, we have 1. Item 2, claims ending March 31st, 2026 in the amount of $666,561.67.
Okay, so some of the questions that were asked, so I'll just talk about the fire truck real quick. The fire truck was purchased by private money. The repairs came out of celebration committee money that was left over from last year. And given the fact that the fire truck has been allocated to go to celebrations, parades, educational events, the money came out of there, so no tax dollars were used for the repair. So that's that, but that money, that has to be recorded. So that's where that $4 that was being asked, that's, that involves a HIPAA thing, so we really can't divulge that.
That was 70?
Yeah, yeah. What was the other one, Bob?
It
I'll
was
just
the
ask you.
account,
I'm sorry?
the account that it was placed under, I think? Was it just a placeholder?
No, it's not a placeholder, it's an account associated for HIPAA.
It's a what? I'm sorry.
Accounts associated with HIPAA.
Oh, okay, in the description, you could have just put that in there, HIPAA refund. I guess.
Okay, anything else with the accounts mentioned?
Yes, we talked about, last week we talked about the audio and video in this room. And I see there was, Chambers Audio Issues Service for the amount of $743.82. What was that about?
That's a couple of times over the last couple of months, the recordings haven't worked for me, Calvin here, so we had to, figure out how to get the recordings.
Okay, on page 2, there's a check to the Wisconsin Supreme Court in the amount of $800, and under the purpose, it says Wisconsin Supreme Court. Do we have a case pending there, or what's going on with that?
That's likely a dues, I would assume, but without having the information ahead of time to look up the specifics from that department, we would have to go to recess to pull that.
Come on, it's, how many checks do you cut to the Wisconsin Supreme Court?
I'm sorry, Alderperson, I can't memorize every check that you may have a question on the list.
Let's go to
Which is
recess.
why I asked you to send them to me ahead of time, so I could gladly get that information for you. I'd be happy to do so, but I just need you to send them to me ahead of time.
Okay. We cut checks in the amount of $22,000 plus to Grafe and Associates. I don't know what, the specific accounts that, their services are charged to, but I would like a breakdown of all of those invoices. I think there's 11 charges on here for that. When you have time, I would like to look those over to see where all of that money is being spent. Those are the only other questions I have.
The other question was, it was the EUA, not EVA, which are the architects that are working on the public space. That money was paid to them by the CDA, but it's gotta filter through us, so that's how we record it. So yeah, no tax money was used for that, that's CDA money.
But where did the CDA get their money from?
They have their own money, they have their own account.
But I think what he's
Yeah, where do you
asking
get
is,
it
where does the money that the CDA have, where does it come from?
Well, recently just came from the land sale of, Sewall area, so that was $2 million.
And ARPA funds also.
Some of it was at some point, yeah. Anybody else, questions, guys?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion made by Alderperson Phillips to approve claims in the amount of $666,561.67 for March 31st, 2026. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Alderperson Levy.
Alright, roll call, Alderperson Phillips. Alderperson Haynes.
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski.
No,
Alderperson St. Rebecca.
Yes.
Alderperson Levy.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1. New business, item 1, mayor's appointments to boards, commissions, and committees. A, celebrations committee, we have Alderperson Levy, Jill Reesley, Lynn LaFever, and Carrie Durr.
Okay, so, yeah, so traditionally the mayor handles the celebrations committee. My wife she helps, she's not really on, she's kinda like a behind the scenes helping me out with stuff. So yeah, it's the mayor's responsibility to handle that every year, so. We lost some people from last year, I had to reappoint some new ones, so as the clerk read them off, that's what we have right now. So I'll be looking for approval.
I made a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made by Alderperson Phillips, seconded by Alderperson LaFerski. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ayes have it.
Ayes have it,
purposes of ingress and egress between the city of Cudahy and the school district of Cudahy for parcel number 634-9999-001-5110 South Lake Drive.
This is, related to the water reservoir overflow project, water utilities, that's hopefully, handling this summer. Basically, in consultants' work, doing their due diligence on designing the project, it was discovered that we need an easement to put the overflow pipe through school district property to daylight it out, I believe 800 feet per the DNR requirements. It was discovered that while we were working to get that easement, that their high school's driveway actually is on city property. So, the school board, approved, granting of our easement for our utility overflow, and we're gonna clean that up and grant them an actual easement to drive over our property with the driveway that's existed for a very long time. So it's just, a cleanup.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Alderperson St. Rebecca, second by Alderperson Phillips.
Alderperson St. Rebecca?
Yes.
Alderperson Levy?
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips?
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes?
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 3, discussion and necessary action regarding an agreement for assessor contract with Accurate Appraisal.
Okay, so I do believe we had some RFPs go up, yes?
No, so this is a preliminary, our contract is coming up with Accurate. They have sent this over, before we even requested any RFP information to, find out if the council's interested in continuing with that contract. If you wanna go for RFP, that's up to you guys. There's a public policy forum study that's been recently done that pretty much shows what a decent deal we're getting with Accurate. I know the last contract renewal, there were quite a few issues that I was working through with them. I'm happy to report that with, them implementing a representative for us directly with Accurate, we have resolved a significant amount of those issues. Will never be issue free, no matter who you go with, there will always be something that pops up. But it has been a drastic improvement with getting our own representative to go through for all of our issues. So we brought it to the council to find out what it is that you would prefer to.
How much is the current contract?
Current contract is $56,100 per year.
The last time this went to contract, we had 2 bids.
Right. Correct. We only received 2 responses to the last RFP request.
Typically what we have.
Yes, and it was Tyler, we know they have their own issues as well, with capacity, which is typically the problem. They were about, at the time, $5,000 more per month, so the council decided to stick with the Accurate contract, and so, it's really your call on what you would like us to do with this at this point.
I'll make a motion to do an RFP. I did a quick Google search and there's 3 companies that do this sort of work, all in the same proximity in the state, in the Appleton area. So I would make a motion to, send out an RFP, given the city's financial situation. It can't hurt to check.
Motion made by Alderperson LaFerski to send out RFP for possible contract with other agencies for appraisal.
I'll second.
Seconded by Alderperson Haynes.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Just kind of answer some of the questions, because they, on this alternating plan, and what do you want to request on the RFP? Can't just say we want a blanket RFP, that's fine, but do we still want the maintenance on the odd years and the market update on the even years? Is that what we're still looking for? Because that's what we have done in the past. So we have to give staff direction on this RFP. We can't just say send out an RFP to 3 people, because they could be whatever they wanted as a staff, and it's still not what we want to see. So if we can make a amendment to your motion for an RFP to include what you're actually looking for an RFP, or what the common council is looking for from an RFP, so that we can give a staff accurate direction.
Do you have a problem with the way it's being done now?
No, but we just need to answer the questions of the constituents while we're talking about this topic, and then we also need to provide direction to staff when we say something up here.
Status quo.
And
then I have a question, to kind of address the question again, from the citizens to kind of give clarity. So, is it, what's the deal with like doing assessments? Is it statutory? Is it, I mean, to do it every other year, like we have it contracted? Are there different formulas, that other communities are doing as far as when assessments how often assessments happen? I'm trying to be reminded.
So I'm happy to comment on that. So, under state law, each year is a new assessment year. So the answer to your question is it's done every year.
Okay.
But when you talk about a reassessment, that's actually physically looking at every single property in the city. And a reassessment, as opposed to maintenance, a reassessment is examining every property, which is much more expensive, much more intense. State law requires a reassessment if you fall out of, I think it's 10% of the equalized value. If your sales are showing that you're valuing 10% or more lower than what equalized value would indicate, then you have to do a reassessment by state law. But you try to stay close to actual values all the time. That's the only way that's fair. And it's not that when you do a reassessment, people pay more. That's not the way it works. The levy is different. You're only gonna levy a certain amount regardless. It's whether people are paying the right proportionate share. Because if some areas of the city are increasing in value faster than other areas, they're supposed to be paying more. And so you do a reassessment to ensure that everybody is paying the right amount based on the actual value of their property. So doing it every other year is a nice, steady process. I have some communities that do it every single year. I have some communities that might go several years, but they manage to stay within that 10%. If you go beyond 10%, the Department of Revenue will be after you, and they will do their own assessment in the worst case, and they'll bill you for having to do that. So it's a long-winded response. Hopefully I responded to your question.
Yes, you did. Now hopefully it made sense to the citizens listening. I'm gonna ask.
So we still need to amend.
So, again, the motion, we're talking about the motion.
Yeah.
So, Mr. LaFerski, are you accepting the friendly amendment offered by Alderman Phillips?
Yes.
Okay, and just to clarify the motion then, we're to go up to RFP for services, amended to include direction for staff to keep the current schedule. Okay. All right, so we have a motion by Alderperson LaFerski, seconded by Alderperson Haynes. With that, on a roll call, Alderperson LaFerski.
Yes.
Alderperson St. Rebecca.
Yes.
Alderperson Levy.
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips.
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Item 4, discussion and necessary action regarding discussion and necessary action regarding direction on the capital improvement plan open house.
So open house, town hall, basically, if we could just set a date so that everybody gets out there, we can get it out to everybody in a timely fashion, so people have time to plan, to attend, departments can get all their information together to present, answer questions appropriately, and so on and so forth. So I would suggest maybe, I think that when I was looking at, week of May 10th maybe. Gives us enough time, I believe.
Is that enough time for the department heads to prepare their 10-year plan?
Mother's Day.
It's gonna be ready.
Well, the 10th is a Sunday, and it would be Mother's Day. Yeah, the week of the 10th.
The week of the 10th.
Is it actual department, is it up to the department to finalize that schedule? What is based off of what their capacity is?
We wanna entertain any dates that might work.
On that week,
Yes.
I was speaking to?
Yep.
Mayor, we do have, planning commission next Tuesday.
maybe not Monday, or I guess the Wednesday. Or Thursday, I mean, I guess, pick up, anybody have a conflict, I mean, again, whatever.
So 13th or 14th?
Can we discuss first, are we going to be in attendance? Are we doing separate? Are we doing
I
one
think-
where the elderly
I
are
think-
not allowed?
I think we should, I'll leave it up to you guys, but if you're gonna show up, let us know, we'll put out notice of forum, let the attorney wants to chime in. Make sure we're not doing anything illegally. By doing
That
that,
was part of the discussion
So,
last
Well,
the
time.
main thing is we've had town halls, so I'm like, if, yeah, we can put out, just like we do on Fourth of July, Memorial Day, or any time that we're gonna be in the same room together. Prescribed. So, that should be counter, and then we don't need to engage in a conversation. The main thing, I want, if I'm there, I'm gonna be listening, you know, or I need to record it, that's why I actually donated the camera. A video camera. So if they wanna videotape it, I'm not able to attend, I'll watch it, and then I can hear my constituents or the residents' concerns. The suggestion, my recommendation, of course, was to have it, tell their entire whole town hall, okay, do a forum, notice if need be, and then if so choose, if, alders wanna have their own individuals with constituents, then move forward, because you've heard them array, broader scope of discussion, and of course, then maybe you might not need to have, every single department head there. And hopefully, again, my other recommendation was, is that as the staff, as if they're gonna put together boards to do some kind of informational pieces, or, of course, here we have TVs, and at the library, there's a screen, that it's bullet points about just main thing, you know, like really high level, the mainstream, core projects, roads, buildings, possibly changing of, doing maintenance of buildings, and kind of try to bring things down to very simple terms. You know, because there's confusion about labeling on the actual spreadsheet, so like, then they can just give more, information about like what's covered under that project. I think are gonna be some of the good questions, you know.
And I agree, I personally would like to be present for the meetings just to listen and hear what everyone has to say. But I was under the impression last time we met that we weren't able to be in attendance,
Well,
even if we put out. Sorry.
So, if I may, it depends on how this is being set up, and I'm not entirely sure. But I am hearing that the council wants to be present. I can work with staff to set up the meeting a way where you can be present. And we can provide proper notice. I'm happy to do that. I don't know, I think we all might have a different vision of what we're talking about. That's one of my concerns.
I mean, we did the zoning, I mean, we've had these, this is, like I said, I don't know why this seems like this is like rocket science, like, we've just done one for the open, community space, we all, like, a lot of us showed up, you know, we just looked at the boards, they had boards, people answered questions, we did it for the firehouse, we did it for possibly moving our dispatch to North Shore, we did it for, zoning, that was a little, you know, like I said, so if they wanna do the stickers, I don't think we need the stickers, I think it's just more, if people have an opportunity, like, high level, items, or just general questions, again, have some visual, like, I don't wanna pick on Tim, he's sitting there, but, you know, Public Works has a big chunk of it, and I know we have like a road, kind of process map, or we used to have stuff like, that showed like how, when things are timed out. And again, it kind of shows you which roads are included in which projects, so people know, like people living on Dish, that the Grange project now encompasses their street and the Creedy. You know, because otherwise, what happened to my streets getting fixed, you know, so it's stuff like that, and when that's gonna happen, and, you know, what are we gonna do with, the old DPW building, or what are we gonna do with the property with it, and when we talk about changing and doing improvements in this building, you know, those are big ticket items, and they've had some heartburn in the past when we've had them pop up. So a great 10-year plan, we can see it happening, but now they have an opportunity on the front end to kind of just absorb it and kind of have a realization of kind of why, a little bit more of the why.
If I may, I agree, what I was envisioning was similar to the zoning code update.
Yeah.
The challenge is with the recording you mentioned with the camera, because we had residents that each,
Mhm.
mostly talking to our consultants or, but, so it would be hard to record and share that way, because we want people to be able to ask multiple questions, follow-up questions. If you're standing at board with street projects, you've got follow-up, Jim, but your neighbor got their answer, they wander down to the next board. So I think recording would be a challenge with that, but I do think that's the best way to do it for residents to have.
Well, if they do dots, I mean, maybe there's a way to capture at least little bits of information. Like again, because we did with the zoning, we had some, little bit of put your feedback, and then we can and summarize it, at least we get a summation of kind of the feel of certain topics. That's fine with me.
And, after this, public meeting, town hall setting, with the bullet points or information, after the completion of this meeting provided on the website.
And depending on direction tonight, I was gonna say, we push that out through our channel, get it on the website right now, as proposed draft for consideration at this meeting, so people can look at it and see what they may have questions about ahead of time, and they'll have a number of weeks if we think that day, so, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Anything else, Attorney Larson?
Not for right now, I think that we do need to drill down and see how we're gonna make this work though.
Alright, so going back, we'll set a date so we can get this stuff going. So, all the person sitting here, Bill will suggest that the 13th.
Jim, are you available? What are you available?
Yeah, I mean, can I tell you?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, the good thing is, guys, in 2023, that's why we hired Rick Milky. The assistant Casey was charged. Milky. In 2023, we hired Rick and Milky to do a capital improvement plan to assist us with this. All of these projects were basically presented by Rick and Milky at that, Board of Public Works meeting. Packet materials are on the website. A lot of dates have changed because that's how a capital improvement plan works. All it is a roadmap, guys. You might take a different route on the roadmap. Priorities change. You know, sometimes the loudest voices in the community, their priority was maybe a 3 and suddenly it becomes a 2. They move up in the priority list. It's the way it works. It's just a roadmap. It's not gospel. It is not cut in stone. That's how much money we're gonna spend. These are very, very high level estimates. So if anyone's interested, they can go back and look at that. But a lot of it has changed. A lot of it is going to change. It's always a moving plan.
Oh, we can explain that, I think that's a great point, Tim, and, the other part is that I think is very new to everybody as far as we move forward with the capital improvement plan, is that now we're reaching out to 10 years, and it's all encompassing, whereas, yeah, when I chaired Board of Public Works with you and Frank, and we would do it, we looked at it in 23, it was all, at that point, we just had this, and we had Ruben Milky working on Public Works, which of course is a big percentage of the whole plan. Now, it's everybody like, oh, there's this like even more, because now we got all of it, which is great, all in one place, perfect. We all should, it shouldn't be funneled, so we gotta find it and search out, right, for even our citizens or any of us. So, the opportunity just to revisit, give them the whys of why the timing changed, like I asked you last week, about certain projects, that involve my, district, but I think it's nice that the citizens, realize that went well. The other thing I think that, yeah, as far as like when they talk about the bonds and, even how that works, because they still may, even though the presentation happened, the we that were here, we may get other ones, and then we can kind of just talk a little bit to that, to, you know, do cash on, using cash on hand versus the bond, and how that all works together too, but all the approvals you need to get, kind of just reminding them why sometimes, it's not us, like our group here at City Hall, slowing the process down, but you have to get approval, especially road work, that involves sewer and water, by 3 other entities sometimes, so, all good stuff.
Okay, just real quick, on the next schedule, May 14th is the 128th Civil Center, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right, that's a Thursday, right?
So we can push it, we can move it up.
Oh, Wednesday or Monday, but I don't know how that was worded.
Do you want us to check with department heads and set the
Yeah.
schedule based off of those 2 dates?
Just do a quick report with,
Any ideas for time?
4 to 7 for the 2 we've had in the last 9 months. So it's grab a little bit of afternoon and get into evening, but, because it is just, hopefully anyway, just free flow.
And I mean, generally, I didn't stay the whole time for any of those, but how did that work? How did that work? Did it work like, well, that we had a good flow?
I thought so.
Okay, well.
Okay, so we'll work with, departments, figure out which is better, the 11th or the 13th, and I guess we'll post it, we'll get you guys notified and go from there. Alright.
You know, last option I said, what about the following week between the 18th and 22nd? Except for the 19th for common council. If that current proposed week isn't practical, could we move it?
Okay, so the 11th, the 13th, the 18th, or the 22nd? Okay.
Alright, any further discussion on this topic? Okay, so we have the direction of the village.
Correct.
Alright, moving on.
Department manager, elected official updates, mayor's updates.
Okay, I would say the newest thing that happened, the Sheridan Hotel has been sold. They plan on reopening it, it'll be a restaurant, South Shore Cocktail Lounge, and I think they're gonna operate as a boutique hotel. They have a lot of things to work through, so stay tuned. So that's all I got for you, that's relevant right now.
Okay, introduction and passage of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinances we have none, resolutions we have none. Public comments on any subject. Each speaker will be limited to 1 3-minute presentation for each public comment or hearing from the residents. Placed on the agenda, any discourse between speaker and council, if absolutely necessary, will be minimal as to avoid potential open meeting law violations. No comments will be received at this time for matters that will be or have been the subject of a public hearing, because the proper time for such comments is during public hearing.
Council, same statement as before, as I stated, so. Okay, any public comment?
Please state your name and address for the record.
Okay. Bruce Shupnick, 3343 East Van Norman Avenue. And just 2 points of interest. The first point is the Wisconsin Supreme Court, the $800. That's quarterly fee that we pay to the state. Because on a monthly basis, the police department sends them forms and they reimburse us on a monthly basis. So $800 is probably for the second quarter of 2026. Thank you, Bruce. It's a quarterly. Second point of interest is, sitting back here, I heard after you mentioned the 22,000 for the CDA that you mentioned.
I don't know if it was for the CDA.
Well, it's 409, I think that's CDA. But anyway, the thing you have to remember is, they have what's called a retained earnings, which they carry forward year to year to year to year. We put interest revenue in that account, sale of property, so that's where the money comes. There's no tax money involved in that. That's just all business activity, the sale and purchases and repairs and construction of new properties. Okay? I just want to set that straight, because they were saying, oh, where's the money? So, anyway, what I like to hand out is on page 9 of the Elders report, there was existing and proposed debt that was so small that I printed it out larger so everybody could read it. I was wondering if I could pass it out to the common council with your blessing, Mayor.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
One of the big things that I did improve on this is I put a annual taxes of value of $300,000. Ellers had 100,000, but I don't think there's that many properties in the city, with a value of $100,000. So I increased it to $300,000. So it would be a lot easier for you guys to read. If you have any questions, let me know. You know where I live. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce.
Any other comments?
Okay.
I don't care.
Huh?
Pat King, 3907 East Iowa Terrace. calls yesterday, I couldn't believe it. One call in particular really bothered me. A lady was going down Hately, I forgot the side street. She said to me, Pat, you used to be block watch Pat. Did they run City Hall the way they run it today? I said, oh, hell no. She said, she just got this car a couple months ago, hits a big hole, messes up the bottom of her car, and I think you did talk to her, didn't you, at some point? No, you didn't. Well, I know a call was put into you too, but nobody answered. All the different numbers she kept trying. She said, who do I get a hold of? I said, hey, I don't know anymore. I said, that's a good question. I said, I want to know why our taxes went up the way they did. And I want to know why, how many people do we have working in DPW? Somebody told me 11, somebody told me 12. So that's right, huh? But you got 4 supervisors / foremen. Why? Why aren't they cutting that down to him? And maybe, just maybe, one other. You don't need that. There's no reason. We were told, before you even became mayor, that they were gonna get some new type of blacktop that was, oh, it's gonna be outstanding. When are they gonna start using it? When are they gonna fill these holes? They're horrible everywhere you go. My neighbor right across the street from me, who you know from Country Club or whatever that place is, he finally called in, he couldn't stand it anymore. His was so bad. You know, they came out, they put a little in, they did some areas they didn't do, and they left all the broken cement bricks and things laying there. They couldn't sweep it up? Are you kidding me? What has happened to our town? We never lived like this. I'm here 31 years. I never seen this. I don't know. What are you doing for your money? Get on them. We want the roads patched. And there's no reason they can't be. This is getting old. But you keep asking for more and more. We're asking for something now. I don't want these phone calls. I said, hey, I don't care about them anymore. I'm not Block Watch. But something has to be done, and done soon, with all these holes. I go to CVS. I take 12 different pills a day because I'm not in good shape. That's why I wear this mask. I have to be so careful. And I know where everything is now. I see people hitting that stuff. Come on, let's do something. You wanna do something good? Fix the roads. And talk to whoever owns Packard Plaza.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah. Oh, that,
Any other comment?
that's a bunch.
Bob Hoffman, 4467 South Lake Drive. My comment on this. Didn't get a chance to have this prior to the meeting, but I get it. This was started by me. I sent an email to the mayor back in June. I can quote it for you, but I understand there may be some confidentiality issues there. All I wanted to do was know who's what, who answers to who. If Clerk Mary Jane is nasty on the phone, I wanna know who she answers to. I mean, I shouldn't have to call JJ on that. Think about it, so, that's it. But I wanna say one thing. I think the common council has to realize that we are not the enemy. Meaning, everybody who sits beyond this wall. You are not our enemy, you are our pipeline for things that aren't right. We pay a lot of money on taxes, as I look up, and I've said this before, not all you people who are sitting up there live here. So, don't give me that crap, so, that's it. I'm trying not to be so nuts, thanks.
Any other comments?
Bruce Shipneck, 3343 East Van Norman Avenue. You're good, you're good. And I swear, this is the last time that I'm gonna come up and say, when I was an alderman, when I was, 2001 to 2004. After every winter, my wife and I, we get in my pickup truck, and we start on Lenham Avenue, up and down the streets, all the way to Lake Drive, and I make maps of where potholes needed to be fixed. After we did all the map and we got home, the next day I took it over to where it should go, and I said, look, I want these fixed. Just remember this, you are the bosses of the city. Act like it, demand it. Don't think you have to go there bending on bended knees. You go in there and say, look, I'm the alderman in this district, I want it fixed, and these are the problems. Be empowered. You guys are the fathers of the city. Act like it. I'm ashamed. Sorry.
Any other comment?
Again, Robert Goss, 3745 East Henry. First order of business, I'd like to thank some of the people from the celebration committee that are here for stepping up to the plate to help that celebration committee go. Item number 2, I understand that we had a guy stuck in the mud down in the lakefront. He was rescued. A question I had about that was, did we, the city of Cudahy, not have the proper equipment to do the rescue on our own without relying on our neighbors? It just, unless it was a exercise, okay? One of, you'd like to answer that. I did a, open records request at the last meeting and have not received anything. Is there a reason for that? Was it not valid? Okay, let's see here. Thank you for the explanation about the reassessment. Inspection, I think that's every 10 years. One of the things that I would look for at this open house would be to come prepared for the items that are being asked for. Could we have, make sure that you have a inventory of what we currently have, what the value of this is, what's the longevity, the write-off of this article, and what would be the resale value of such item if you're looking to purchase something else. Something for the roads for the DPW might be the real condition of these roads when they were last repaired, what they would need. And if you do the repairs, it would be wise to do a full repair, the sewer repair, the water main, everything all at once, so you're not, the lead replacements, getting that all done at one time before you cap it off with nice asphalt or cement. Let's see here. As far as the org chart goes, I heard, it said that, people signed up for more duties than they can handle. That kind of bothered me, hearing that from our administrator. I'd like a little more clarity on that. And the actual job descriptions, should accompany these, positions that are statutory, like the clerk treasurer position, the mayor position, and things like that. And also make use of the, book that, the employee handbook that is currently available. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Tom Schmidt, 3954 East Birchwood, accurate. How often do they assess? Just because it gets under 10% of the fair market value, or is it, we do 25% of the city one year, 25% of the city the next year, 25% of the city the year after? Second question is, did you determine a town hall meeting when this was? No? Okay. Pardon?
They're working with staff on 4 different days.
Okay, thank you. The engineer of the Department of Public Works. I was on the committee and we were looking to get estimates on, we bought the lights for Layton Avenue. We knew where they were gonna go. When are they going up? And where are we at with the lift station now that we've got the easement? Them are two things that I remember when I was on the Department of Public Works Committee. Thank you.
Any other comment?
Hi, Megan Stankiewicz, 3460 East Van Norman Avenue.
Boy, there's a lot of spending.
Sorry to bring up the community calendar again. March was really great and updated. In April, there were 2 meetings missing. The Board of Health and the Plan Commission. Just hoping that going forward, the community calendar can be kept up to date. I see that for, May, there are already the Common Council meetings listed on the calendar. If the CTA meeting is also known to be on May 12th, it would be great if that could get on there to give residents time to plan their own schedules around that. That's all, thank you very much.
Any other comments?
Hi, Carrie Durr, 5831 South Illinois Avenue. Just real quick, 2 things about your open town hall situation. I just wanna mention the 22nd is a Friday. You might have a hard time getting residents there on a Friday night to come out and come to a town hall meeting. It's just a really difficult night to have those on. My second just suggestion is, when you have this meeting, if you might wanna consider having some type of feedback form or QR code, so the people that do attend that can give you some feedback right away on the things that they have either questions on or comments on, so you have some of that data be going into your next meeting, so you kind of see the people that attended and what they thought, and maybe some of that moving forward just might be helpful for all of you, and that's it, thank you.
Any other comment? Any other comment? Third and final call.
Okay, that will be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
With a second.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Snake, second by Alderman Lefersky, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Boy, I could
None,
finally
you're
hear.
adjourned at
Hey, Bob.
22.